Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Nysa's weekly webinar on global investment immigration. Um, this is a weekly webinar that we host every Wednesday at 3 p.m. And our endeavor through the series of webinars each week is to present a topic or countries and programs around the world that we are working with families coming out of India, Southeast Asia, Latin America, that are destined or wanting to or desire to go to European and North American countries. Before we start off and go any further, I would like to review the functionality of the GoToWebinar for today. Your active participation is very important throughout the session. We will put everybody on mute during the presentation and during the entire presentation, and you'll be on listen-only mode. But you have the option to put in your questions into the chat box, which is a window that is there on the pop-up GoToWebinar. And there will be a person from our staff who will be managing the chat box, noting down the questions, and we will address them in sequential order or divide them by country or program, and then I'll try to answer them together. We are available all the time for around the clock to answer to individual queries, and we encourage people to write in or call us, WhatsApp us, set up an appointment for one-to-one sessions as well. So without further ado, let's begin our webinar this Wednesday, 19th of August, on global skilled and investment immigration. This is a new topic that we've added, and we will be more of this will follow in the subsequent weeks as we progress our webinars. To start off, and introducing my colleague and business partner, Mark Hazeman. We have a person on the camera who you can see. Mark's an American. He lives here now in India, and since COVID, he's been in India for the last 6 months. Mark and I have been working together in the world of investment immigration since 2012. Mark from the Midwest region in Indiana and has spent his career in international real estate development centered around golf. So he worked with one of the foremost golfers in the world, Jack Nicklaus, for over 20 years, and in golf projects that were Nicklaus signature projects and their development around the world in Asia, in India, in China, in Europe, and of course in the US. After almost 3 decades of this, Mark then went ahead to develop 2 of his own golf-centric projects in the US. One, which is where his home is in Indiana, and the other in Michigan, both signature Nicklaus courses. Mark's been involved with the Classic here in Delhi. For those people that know the ITC Classic, he came here for that project, 93. Mark and I have been working in this for about 7-8 years now, and we are very, very excited about the space we're in and the growth that we are having here in India. Over to you, Mark, to kickstart the presentation, and then I'm going to turn off our video now so that we can focus on the presentation slides, and we will rejoin with our videos post our presentation. Once again, thank you so much for being here for our weekly webinars.
Thank you very much, Pankaj. I'm also going to turn off my camera so you'll get the full screen with the presentation, and we'll save some bandwidth. So with that, now you see me, now you don't. Well, I might start by saying, migration's as old as mankind itself. When we roam freely and settled where we found the best protection and food and so forth, the day the world is bordered, each bordered country has its own socio-economic, political, religious existence, its distinct culture. People born in one place desire and often move to another place. Pankaj, I noticed the slide is blank. There we go. It's estimated that globally 250 million people live in a country in which they were not born. India itself has seen migration over hundreds of years. The Indian diaspora can be found in most every country on earth, in some cases going back generations. In the recent past, post-independence Indians have mostly migrated through foreign education pursuits or skilled labor, leading to jobs in the new country and ultimately becoming residents and citizens, which led way to another popular trend, that of family link migration, where a foreign citizen sponsors a sibling, spouse, or family member. In the late 1980s, the world witnessed its first major structured investment immigration program, one of the other things we work on, as citizens of Hong Kong started to migrate to Canada in anticipation of the British turnover to China, a phenomenon still unfolding today. Today, such programs avail in dozens of countries as they seek economic development in exchange for residency or citizenship. These programs essentially aim to attract foreign direct investment into the host country, and with it bring an upwardly mobile family that ultimately create even more economic value in the destination country, typically far in excess of the original investment. Investment immigration programs have been popular in China and Southeast Asia since their inception. And then as wealth and horizons have expanded, India is now seeing a very rapid increase in interest and use of investment-based migration programs. We at Nysa have been a front runner in this field starting in 2012 and have had the privilege of working with hundreds of families through their migration journey. We're proud to present new and emerging opportunities in this segment to our audiences in India. Next slide. So basically, Nysa, we look at two different approaches to migration. First, the skilled approach, where you basically take a job in a foreign country. It may be a specific classification of employment that the country is looking for. We see this in many countries, including Canada, Ireland, the US, of course, has its H-1B program. And then you end up with a work permit, and which then translates into permanent residency after some period of time, and ultimately have a passport. So that's the skilled labor approach or skilled job approach. Next slide. Then there's the investment approach, and you could, I think, throw business migration somewhere in between these two. With the investment approach, there are several different ways. Number one, you can in some countries you can invest and you get a passport automatically. In some countries, you get permanent residency first as a first step, and then that after a period of time you then have a passport. In some countries, you invest in a business, which gets you a work visa or a business visa, and after you complete those requirements or do that program, then you become a permanent resident for some period of time, usually just a couple of years, and ultimately you have a passport. In all these cases, though, you have the opportunity to be in country along the way, so to getting full citizenship. Next slide. We have programs available for citizenship, skilled worker, and residency programs, business migration, what have you, in many countries, as you can see on the screen. This is a very fluid kind of a process. As countries' programs become successful, for instance, the United States EB-5 program became very successful. That ended up creating a pretty long waiting list for people migrating from India. Portugal has been very popular lately. Ireland is on the rise. Canada kind of comes and goes. The UK has various programs. These programs are constantly changing, and really it's our business to keep up on what the latest best opportunity is for our clientele in whatever sort of category they choose, whether that's again the skilled job approach or direct citizenship or permanent residency, business migration. Next slide. And with that, basically Nysa Global is set up with its team of professionals and its relationships within the industry as the institutional approach to investment immigration. Next slide. Basically, we were founded in 2010. Pankaj founded the business as a management advisory practice. In 2012, we entered into the investment immigration space with the EB-5 program in the United States and raised significant money for a project in Michigan, later for another project in North Carolina. We've actually raised far more than $18 million. Formed a relationship with a group in Atlanta that was a partnership back in 2014, and then separated from that relationship to focus basically on our markets and our own projects and opportunities in 2017. 2018, we launched Nysa Global, which is, as I mentioned a little bit or alluded to, an assimilation of our expertise, experiences, and relationships of our platform. We've expanded coverage in Canada and Europe as destinations. We've expanded our marketing coverage to Southeast Asia, the Middle East, and Latin America, and expanded our presence and team in India significantly. We are now pan-India. We've positioned really ourselves on the inside track of the evolving and expected to expand investment immigration, business migration, skilled worker programs, and feel like we're steps ahead in our proximity and access to the emerging opportunities. This is our full-time business. We're headquartered in Gurgaon and always welcome people to come and see us. Next slide. Basically, Nysa is a Greek word that means a new beginning. It doesn't mean New York anything. Our goal is to help our clients and their families make new beginnings by assisting them to become a part of and grow within the top economies of the world, expand their businesses, educate their children, and help them expand their international footprint. Next slide. With this, and next slide, I'd like to introduce, turn it over to Pankaj Joshi, founder of Nysa, who's pictured there. Since 2010, Pankaj has led the firm in helping hundreds of families expand their international footprint. He's widely published and featured in national and international publications such as the Economic Times and Fortune magazine. He has spoken at and/or hosted numerous conferences in conjunction with major Indian media, such as the Times of India and CNBC. Pankaj is widely acknowledged as one of the foremost experts in India on the subject of economic migration. He and the entire Nysa team work tirelessly to help those interested in migration make the decision of a lifetime. We work very hard in making sure that you make the most well-informed decision possible, and once taken, that process is transacted flawlessly. So with that, I'll turn it over to Pankaj.
Thank you, Mark. Just a second, we seem to have had a little bit of a delay in getting this thing back. Okay, just 1 second, since my computer did something. Just guys, 1 second. Mark, just testing with you that you can see my screen.
I can see your screen. It says our services.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, well, thank you, Mark, for the introduction, and of course for being partners with me for the last 8 years. So there are three big areas in which Nysa is working today. One is investment immigration, the other is skilled migration, and the third is that we do provide business investment advisory services focused in the United States. We are going to start off today by talking a little bit about skilled migration. This is something that is new that we've introduced in 2020. We started working in this space in 2018 and have been developing this with establishing our presence and partners in the host countries over the last 2 years. The two countries that we've launched off with today are Canada, or that we are working in actively today, are Canada and Ireland. In Canada, there are various programs that we work under, the Federal Express Entry or the Provincial Nominee programs for point-based migration, or the FSWP and TW for the skilled worker and trade skilled worker programs. And in Ireland, we work with job placement services to Ireland. So a little bit, I just want to introduce a little bit about what the process is for Canada. And please understand that our focus is not on doing initial express entry consultation for people to be just able to do that pool login, while our specialization really comes in finding people jobs in Canadian companies in Canada. And that's where our real differentiation lies in our Canadian service offering. So whichever category you're going under, we work with people that we help them get a job, a confirmed job offer within Canada with a Canadian employer, a sizable size Canadian employer. So we have a cutoff in terms of the size and the criteria of the companies where we are helping our people find jobs. And these are not small mom and pop shops. These are well-established companies in Canada. And the process that really we follow is that once we are retained and start building on the profile of a client, our next step is to schedule an interview with the employer in Canada. Before the interview, we do a coaching of the client in terms of getting prepared for the interview, in terms of the company that they're interviewing with, etc. We then get them a confirmed job offer, post which their labor certification, or LMIA as it's called in Canada, is processed and work permit is approved. At which point they travel and land in Canada, and after some time using their Canadian work experience, they are able to file for the permanent residency under one of the various programs that I talked about, whether it was express entry, whether it is the PNP, etc. And then the permanent residency comes through. We are also working with some people that get the confirmed job offers that top up their points for express entry. So that is another aspect that we do. There are various sectors and jobs that are available with us. We have an internal portal where we map the profiles of the clients that come in with the jobs availability in Canada. Please contact us to learn about the latest availability in Canada. The contact details are on your screens. In Ireland, we do a very similar thing, except there are different sectors that are required in Canada and in Ireland. Ireland is more focused on higher technology-based businesses, so we are recruiting people that are looking to get into telecom, IT in terms of software development, and more core functions in medical technology, healthcare, etc. Again, the process is a little similar. We start off with a retainer. We have an Irish counterpart that does the training and the interview and selection. We are then interviewed it directly into an Irish company, post which there is a visa processing. Hopefully you fall under critical skills, land in Ireland, and 2 years later, you are able to apply for a permanent residency, which can then later, of course, become a passport. Our services include assistance with job placement, visa processing, PR qualification, and PR filing. We have a profiling specialist in our Gurgaon office who has works with the Irish candidates. Please again get in touch with us for Ireland job placements and availability of sectors and jobs in Ireland. Moving up quickly on to investment immigration program, which has been our bread and butter and core functionality for the last 8 years. There are, as Mark had mentioned, 3 ways of being able to do this. There are the straight passport or citizenship by investment programs that we work with in Malta, Cyprus, a couple of other European countries, and the Caribbean countries. We also work with the residency or permanent residency by investment programs in the US, the UK, Ireland, and Portugal. We have, and then of course the business migration route in the US, the UK, Canada, and Ireland. I am going to quickly touch upon all these programs through the progress.
Yeah, I'm not getting these slides, so. Still sharing.
Sorry, I've just been told that we've been experiencing some technical issues and the slides have not been coming on for you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to...
It's fixed now.
Okay. Sorry, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly run through the slides that I've just talked about till now so that you guys can actually see it. We are really sorry about this. The countries for skilled migration that we work with are Canada and Ireland. The way the process works in Canada is that we first work with assisting you in getting a confirmed job offer in Canada. This is with Canadian companies and Canadian employers that are above a certain size and scale. That is our criteria for our job placements. So we don't run after mom and pop shops in Canada, but these are well-established Canadian companies that we get job placements with. Once you get the confirmed job offer, there is your labor certification is processed, and then you enter with the work permit, after which if you meet the eligibility requirement for Canadian PR, you are able to file for the Canadian PR. We are able to provide you assistance throughout the journey, including every step. But our core competence again lies in making sure that you have a valid and qualifying job in Canada. Similarly, we do the same thing in Ireland, except that the sectors available in Ireland are slightly more high-end, high-tech. Software development, major global companies are recruiting right now in Ireland. Telecom is another major sector for us in Ireland. Healthcare. So again, we help you get a confirmed job offer with a Irish employer, which then gives you a work permit. And once you've been in Ireland and meet the eligibility requirement for a PR after 2 years, you are able to get a PR and thereafter a passport in Ireland. Now moving on quickly to the countries by investment program. There are, as Mark had explained, 3 ways that this can happen. The first is a citizenship by investment program. Malta, Cyprus, Montenegro, Turkey in Europe. Dominica, Grenada, and St. Lucia and the Caribbean are countries we work with. We do work with residency by investment programs in the US, UK, Ireland, and Portugal, and the business migration programs that are more customized for each person and each client, and different for each person, each client in the US, UK, Canada, and in Ireland. Quickly, I'm going to walk you through all the programs that we work with. The US EB5 is a minimum $900,000 investment if your investment is in a rural or a targeted employment area, which is where 99+% of EB5 investment goes into, or a 1.8 million investment. It does require you to create 10 new jobs. You can choose like a direct or an indirect method, which is popularly known as the regional center projects. We at Nysa have done a lot of the regional center projects. Actually, we are very proud to report that today we have the final project that we had worked with, where we had investors going in from 2018, has filed its next stage of 829 filing. So today we work with more than half a dozen projects that are now completed their 829 processing. So we are very proud of our track record of over 300 investors under EB5. We have worked with the direct EB5 route as well, where we've helped clients structure individual investments, starting almost from a site location and working through feasibility and the entire documentation of that cycle, documentation cycle of the process. There are associated fees for EB5 that range in the about $100,000 range. It is a straight PR or a green card either way, whether you go direct or the business route. Includes families, members, spouse, and all unmarried children under the age of 21, and you are free to live anywhere in the US. It is a slow process. It takes many, many years and multiple steps. Minimum, you're looking at a 5-year horizon to a 6 to 7 year, which is the average horizon. And the documentation is fairly complex, but again, we are very, we have a long and deep history of EB5, and we are very proud of our track record to date. So this is a super specialization area for us. Get in touch with us if you are interested in the US. Canada is a very, very customized process. The Canadian, there are multiple programs available under the various provinces, a couple of federal programs that are available, especially in the startup or the venture capital field. We work in most of the provinces, but our focus is in Ontario and British Columbia, the 2 main points that people are interested in, Toronto and Vancouver and around. There are various programs again that we work with. The primary, of course, of the base programs of the PNP or the entrepreneur visa category, the owner operator and the self-employed category that is targeted at professionals. The owner operator essentially are for those that are not qualifying for the PNP, but does still require an investment amount which is similar to the PNP or the entrepreneur visa. But for those that are, but it's a slower process, takes longer, and it's a different processing route that you go through. Moving on, again, how this works, well, it is an absolutely customized solution. It is customized to you based on your profile and parameters. Canada is very clear that they will only approve people that are coming in for a qualifying business that meets their background. So if you are running a restaurant in India, you can qualify for an F&B business in Canada, but if you're not running one, you will not qualify for owning and operating a restaurant in Canada. So this is one of the biggest problems that we have seen in the market, that people don't understand this fine line, and there's a lot of mismatch that happens, ultimately resulting in a denial. So it is very important to match the background to the business that you are investing into. Our services again include, first we build your profile, we then find you a matching investment. We assist you with your exploratory visit if it is required. We arrange all the documentation and assist you with all the processing of the visa as well as the PR throughout the various steps of the journey. This typically requires a minimum investment starting under some of the regional or smaller region pilot programs at about 100,000, but your typical sweet spot for investments about 250,000 to 300,000 Canadian dollars. The minimum net worth requirement for the PNP or the entrepreneur program starts at 300 and is at 600 for the base programs, in 600,000 Canadian dollars for the base programs in Ontario and British Columbia. There are associated fees that range in the 45 to 75,000 Canadian dollars along with the visa fees. This includes investor, spouse, and all unmarried children under the age of 21. It's pretty fast, 6 to 9 months to get a temporary resident permit, and another year and a half to get to the permanent residency stays, or 6 to 9 months to be in Canada on a business work permit, which then allows you to, which then once you meet the qualifying criteria for a PR, allows you to file for a PR, and then estimate about 2 to 3 year horizon from start to finish to be on a PR status in Canada. It does afford you, once you get the PR, public health and education for your children. The flip side is that you have to live in the province of your investments. If your investments in Alberta, you can't just skip town and go to Ontario. You have to move to Canada. The requirements to get the PR and post-PR to get the citizenship are pretty stringent. You better be living in Canada to even renew your PR. Although it says 2 years out of 5 years, but you can't just spend 3 years out. I mean, there is a continuous period stay requirement. And so therefore you pretty much should plan to move. And of course, Canada can get cold. So you better be ready for cold weather if Canada is where you want to go. A country that we in particular are very, very excited about is Ireland. There are 2 programs we work with, the Investor Immigrant Program in Ireland, which is their primary investor program. And the second one is something that we have built together with our Irish partner, and which is a business investment under critical skills visa category in in Ireland. The investment program in Ireland requires a minimum of €1 million investment into a fund. It includes the family and spouse and all unmarried children under 18. It's pretty fast, 6 to 9 months, you're through. The PR only requires a minimum of 1 day per year for renewal for life. But citizenship is much harder to get. You better move to Ireland if you want to become an Irish citizen. The investment is locked in for 3 to 5 years, and like I said, you have to live in Ireland, especially in the 5th year as a PR, for pretty much the whole year to be able to get the Irish passport. The program that we are very excited about is a business investment under critical skills category, which is essentially an employment visa into a company that you own. There are certain categories in or areas or sectors in Ireland that are identified as critical skills. We help you develop a business plan or an extension of your current business in India, which is qualifying under the critical skills category, and well as then matching you as an employee with a job profile into your own company, which also falls under the critical skills job role. Essentially, we are what you get is a 2-year work permit, which allows you to work for your own company. Your spouse will be able to work as well, and all children under the age of 18 can enter with you and straight through you throughout your journey. It is a minimum investment of about 90 to 100,000 euros, which predominantly about 80% of that is salary that comes back to you, and PF and insurance that is payable for you. There is an associated fee for our accelerator program in Ireland, which we work with you for the first 2 years, including defining your business plan, qualifying your business plan, your entire visa processing, etc., as well as then actually helping you establish your business in Ireland and making it grow in Ireland. Again, the PR is after 2 years and citizenship after 5 years. You have to move to Ireland. You better be living in Ireland for being able to get the citizenship at the end of 5 years. Quickly, I'll tell you a few case studies that we are worked on and we are working on. We are working on a loans platform, a travel tech company, a fertility business, and an investment company looking at making Ireland their base. Again, this is a very exciting space and something we have built, so we understand the space very, very deeply. We can pretty much help you structure your business in Ireland and migrate under it. Another country which is very popular in India is the United Kingdom. Obviously, our legacy issues continue. There are 3 categories that are available today in the UK. The first is the flagship tier 1 investor visa, which is a minimum £2 million investment requirement, a portfolio we just described. The representative of an overseas business, which is a business migration, something that we are again specializing in now, which is something we are pretty excited about as a solution for Indian companies. The innovator visa is something that the UK has introduced, but hasn't quite clarified enough for us to be able to offer it to our clients or confidently offer it to our clients, and we are not yet offering it anywhere to any of our clients. But it is a category that should come around soon, hopefully. But it does require you to have a high-tech idea, right? It's an innovator visa. They want you to have a new startup idea, novel idea kind of a thing. So it is going to be very hard for people to get the innovator visa and definitely harder to get the PR stage after that. So quickly getting into the tier 1 investor visa, like I said, it is a capital that goes into a UK company, minimum of 2 million, where you are eligible to get a PR after 5 years, 5 million, you can get a PR after 3, and 10 million or more, you can apply for a PR after 2 years. You get a resident permit throughout this period. Spouse, children under 18, very, very quick to process, 2 to 6 weeks, and you are able to gainfully be employed or study or do whatever you want in the UK. The citizenship is 6 to 7 years away. You have to live in the UK to be eligible for the PR, etc. And it's a pretty strict investment selection rule. So their portfolio definitions are very stringent. You essentially have to maintain it for the entire course of this and make sure that your investment level stays at 2 million and above, or 5 or 10 or million and above. The category we are very excited about in India is called the representative of an overseas business. This is basically a program that was designed to encourage foreign companies to come to set up a base in the UK, to set up their expansion of a similar type of business in the UK by transferring a key executive or a senior executive with management role and management decision-making capacity to be the branch manager or UK office manager. And there is no minimum or maximum investment requirement for this, which is what makes it very exciting. Essentially, how it works is that a foreign company, which is in good standing and a good business track record with the business, which can define an expansion role in the UK, which a credible businessman or how they're going to do a similar type of business, and justify why a representative in the UK makes sense for them to grow in the UK, is able to send or sponsor a senior executive to set up and run the UK operation. Basically, it's a pretty quick process. The approvals usually come within 4 to 8 to 10 weeks. You get a 30-day visa to enter, at which point you have a 3-year resident permit with a 2-year extension. After 5 years, you can do the ILR, which is the indefinite leave to remain, or the equivalent of a PR in the UK. And then after 12 months on the PR, you are eligible to apply for the passport. There is no minimum investment. It's pretty fast. You can be there in months. It's very cost efficient, but this is again a very specialized thing, because you need to be able to justify the existence or justify the reason or the role of having, or the importance of having a person full-time in the UK versus a person who can come in and out on a business visa. So it's a pretty fine line, and we are fortunate to be working in a space with people that have a very, very long successful track record and in the UK ROV category. So we are very confident about our ability to get this visa approved. The downside of this visa is that the PR requires you to live in the UK for a minimum of 185 days per year for those 5 years. And the passport requires that you should have spent minimum of 285 days in the preceding 5 years in the UK. The main applicant is limited to work for the UK company, that is the sponsored company, and cannot take up any other employment, but the spouse can. We have some case studies for you: real estate investor, manufacturer, and exporters that want to start selling or do sell to UK buyers. Therapy and psychology company from the Middle East, a fintech company actually from Africa that actually went ahead and did this, where they wanted to set up UK as a base. Again, this is a very specialized service. Please get in touch with us so that we can evaluate whether your business case can qualify for the ROV visa. A country which is really making waves in the last 3-4 years is Portugal, with a very easy golden visa program. The Portugal golden visa is a gateway to EU citizenship. There are various ways that you can do this. The 3 that we were working with: one which was a job creation, which we are no longer working with in the COVID era, but we will have something new introduced in that category post-COVID. But the 2 categories that we are working with is the 350 is the real estate investment. There are 3 categories for real estate: 280, 350, and 500, and we work now in all 3 categories. The golden visa is actually a very, very flexible program, and that is why it has become so popular in the world. The golden visa you get is for 3 years with a 2-year extension, and it only requires you to spend a minimum of 7 days per year in Portugal. In fact, it's actually 21 days in 3 years and 14 days in the 2 years, whether it's bunched up or separated. So we find it easier to just to say a week a year. And after spending that minimum 35 days, you are eligible to get a passport. Now, the Portuguese passport is a full European passport, and therefore thereafter allows you to live and work anywhere in the European Union. The other very exciting thing about this visa is it is a 3-generation visa: investor, spouse, dependent children with no age, as long as we can show them to be dependent, and dependent parents and parents-in-law. So if they're 56 and above till 65, we have to prove dependency. 65 and above are included by default. Again, very fast. Expect 6 to 9 months, you will have your golden visa in your hand. It used to be 6 months. Now we're saying it's 9 because there's been a backlog because of the COVID shutdown over the last 3-4 years, which we expect to play out over the next 3-4 months. So people getting in today might see a slightly longer period, especially when it comes to the biometrics, etc. During these 5 years in your golden visa, you can live, work, study anywhere in Portugal for all 365 days or minimum 7, and it gives you a lot of rights to travel around and move around in Europe, especially in the Schengen countries, because it is a Schengen country. There is a basic Portuguese language test. They do expect you to be able to read the street signs before you get the passport. And you have to remain investment till you get a passport. So if you don't take up the passport, you can remain on your golden visa for life by keeping the underlying investment, or you can convert to a passport, at which point you can thereafter no longer obligated to keep your investment. We are currently offering a project which is a Marriott hotel in Porto, 3% per annum, 2 to 3% actually now, 3% annual return with a guaranteed buyback in 5 years or when you get the passport. We are going to be introducing a new project in Portugal pretty shortly. Now, quickly run you through a couple of the citizenship by investment programs. Cyprus, one of the most expensive ones in the world at 2 million, is a property investment. We have fantastic projects available and real estate investments available in Cyprus. There is a company investment or a financial asset investment or a combining investment that is available with $150,000 donation. Euro donation. There are associated fees that come with it for actually making all of this happen for you. Malta, which is again a full member EU country and a Schengen area country, it's a 650,000 contribution to the National Development Fund and renting or purchase of a property and another investment in bonds with associated fees. There is a change coming to the Maltese program pretty shortly. The only flip side of this program is it does require, gives you residency for 1 year before giving you the passport. So they will want you to rent that apartment or rent that house for 16,000 per annum and above for a minimum of 12 months before they actually get your passport. So it's not instant, it is still a year away from getting a passport. Montenegro is a new kid on the block. It is a real estate investment along with a government donation, 250,000 euro in the north of the country, which is more of a developing part of the country, and 450,000 in the south, which is the more developed part of the country. There are associated fees with it. Turkey, another country that offers a pretty easy passport. Straight away, it gives you a passport with a real estate investment of 250,000 US dollars. There are associated fees. There are some fantastic projects that we have, fantastic real estate solutions that we have in Turkey available for our investors. It is a pretty quick passport, 3-4 months, you will have a passport in your hand. The Turkish passport does offer you the ability to get the E2 visa to the US, and Turkey is a country in waiting for the European Union, not a full member European Union yet, but it is pretty easy for Turkish citizens to have long-term European visas, which allows them easy access in and out of the European region. The Caribbean countries were the first ones to start off the citizenship and immigration programs. There are various ones available. The ones we work with are in Dominica, where there is a pretty simple $100,000 contribution or a $200,000 purchase of property. Grenada, $150,000 contribution. St. Lucia, $100,000 contribution. Sorry, I think it was Cyprus side. So at the end of it, quickly, it's pretty confusing, right? The world is truly your oyster, and which program are you suitable for, or which program is suitable for you is the question that confronts a lot of our clients as they come into us or have come into us over the years. So we always start off by asking you, where is it that you want to go? What is it that, why do you want to go? What is your objective? Do you want to move yourself? Is it just for your children? Do you want to be able to go sometime only in the future, or is it something immediate for you? What are your number 1, 2, 3, and 4 choices that you want to go? What is the timeline? How soon? How late? What is the investment threshold that you're looking at? How much money can you actually put into your investment migration? Who all are included who all do you want to include in your application? We have a pretty scientific approach. We sit down with our investors to understand their requirements through a discovery process, come up with a solution, identify the placement of the investment, etc., and then work through the entire immigration and transition. We do then work through the investor throughout the journey with the investor till such time as the return of investment. At Nysa, we have a very deep and wide net knowledge of the investment immigration space. You start to see more about Nysa in the weeks to come as we introduce some of our newly constituted board members, etc., and partners around the world. With this, we are very well equipped to help you navigate the complexities of the investment immigration journey. The investment immigration, truly the world is your oyster, and we are here to help you crack open it. We are now going to be open for question and answers. I have seen some questions popping in already, and thereafter, we are available at these contact details for any questions and answers, any individual consultation that you guys might need. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to just take a moment's break before just noting down all the questions and getting them together so I can answer it. Okay. So there is a specific question about Canada that has come in, and about qualifying for Canadian investment immigration. Well, Canada, like I said, is a very particular approach, okay? Because the Canadian solution has to be customized absolutely deeply with the profile and the background of the underlying investor. It is not something that you can just go and do that easily, because yes, you can do it, but it will not work ultimately, and there will be a rejection. We have a very scientific way of approaching our Canadian prospects. We have a very long, detailed questionnaire that we provide that they can fill out online, which captures data points that are important for us to be able to map the candidature for particular programs, as well as the qualifying or underlying investments that can be matched. Now, at times we are told by some of our prospects that this is a very detailed questionnaire and why we need some of this information. Well, very frankly, the reason we need such detailed information is to make the process easier and faster for you. The more we understand better about the better we understand your profile, the better it is that we will be able to have a conversation with you without then later discovering things that change our initial assessment of your profile. We have, so Canada is a very customized approach. Our team has done lots of cases in Canada. We are doing lots of cases today in Canada. And it is an area of super specialization for us. So please feel free to get in touch with us if you're interested to get into Canada. There is a question that has come in for Startup Ireland program. Someone who's interested in the Startup Ireland program. Again, ma'am, we are available for a consultation. We've noted down your contact and we will get in touch with you to discuss this. Okay, so moving on, a little further questions about Ireland. Is it expensive to live in Ireland? Actually, Ireland is a pretty Ireland is a pretty cost-efficient country to live in. It is actually the inflation rate is very low, below 1%. Things have costed the same for years. Renting, except the center of Dublin, is pretty inexpensive. Cost of living vis-a-vis income is pretty efficient. Ireland does offer the 4th best quality of life index, with an average median salary at about 30,000 euros per annum, which is not very high. So it offers a very, very high quality of life at a pretty modest salary level, which means that it's an inexpensive place to live. It's growing very rapidly. For people that are not familiar with Ireland and what's going on, every major tech company has made it a development hub. It's not a support hub, it's a development hub, which is very different, which is where core development activities are taking place. Every major pharmaceutical company, medical device company have labs and development centers there. So it is a pretty high-end place to live in terms of service sector, and a pretty cost-efficient place to live. Yes, your spouse can work. They will have a work permit to be able to work in Ireland. Under the startup visa program, there's a question about what happens if the business doesn't take off. Well, the way the program works is, the way this works for your PR is that you are an employee of an Irish company, right? Even though you are the owner of the Irish company, your PR is dependent on an employer-employee relationship. So as long as you have 24 salary slips, as in the company has paid you 24 months of salary that was in your job contract, you are eligible to get a PR. So the success or failure of the business, there is no milestone for your business, for your company. The only milestone that you have is that your company has adequate capital to ensure that 24 months of salary is paid to you, and you are therefore qualified for the visa, for the PR. UK, tier 1, do I control my own funds? Well, the funds are with an investment company. It is a portfolio investment. Any major bank, we work with various fund managers or financial advisory companies that build up the portfolio. You absolutely control how the funds are directed. This is an investor-investment advisor relationship. So you are fully in control and guiding how these investments can be, how the funds can be invested. It's entirely up to you whether you want it to be 100% under your control or give it as a 100% discretionary to the fund manager. Under the ROB, can you set up office at home? Yes, absolutely. You can work from home. There is no requirement for you to employ anybody other than the representative in the UK. If I am an ROB, can my spouse take up any job, including corporates? Absolutely. Spouse has an open work permit, can take up any job. Only you are limited to work in the company, which is the sponsoring company of the visa. For Portugal, can I buy a property anywhere in Portugal? Yes, you can buy property. We have an advisory service for real estate investment, but depending on the type of property and the purpose of the property, we can help you find a qualifying property. Typically, we've seen that the properties that people will actually be able to use for themselves will fall in the 500,000 euro and above category, especially if you're targeting Lisbon. But if you are interested to get farmhouses in Portugal, they can come in one of the other two categories as well. And yes, you can buy property anywhere in Portugal. The limitation is per municipality, age of the property, etc. Okay, let's move on to some jobs about skilled migration to Canada. What kind of jobs are available in Canada? Things changed quite a bit before and were different before and post-COVID. Pre-COVID, we had a lot of job availability in the retail sector, which is kind of dried up right now. We have a lot of jobs available in the F&B sector at the moment. We have a lot of jobs available in the IT sector at the moment. Some of the other sectors have started to open up. We are seeing trickling in of demand in the hospitality and retail sector, but it's very slow. We expect another few months before they really start to open up. In Ireland, the jobs are more in the high-tech sector as well as in the healthcare sector. There is a big demand for nursing and paramedic staff in Ireland right now. We are trying to recruit for. Again, this is a pretty moving thing. Jobs come in, jobs go out. So we encourage people to get in touch with us and put yourselves on our list. I'll give you an example. Someone retained us just last week. We've got an interview lined up for them this week. So we are able to move very quickly now, as we used to pre-COVID, and we are back in that mode. So please feel free to reach out to us and ask any more, to discuss your individual profile. Okay, that's it for the question and answers for today. Mark, if you'd like to join in and add anything further, I'm going to turn on my video so people can start to see me again.
Okay.
Sorry about the difficulty earlier today when my slideshow wasn't working, but I hope I caught up with it. Well, Mark, anything from you? We've been at it now for 8.
Sure. I guess the only thing, I think you covered all the details. There's obviously an enormous amount of information in this presentation. Each one of these subjects you could go into for hours at a time. And so what we really encourage people to do is to come in and see us. It doesn't cost you anything. Our consultation is free. We really enjoy helping people find their way, whether it's in skilled migration or investment immigration, what have you. There's nothing more rewarding to us than finding a successful route for somebody and helping them achieve their goals and aspirations for their family. So please come see us, have a cup of coffee or chai or what have you, or let's get on a video call like this, or whatever you'd like to do. We're here to help, and we hope to see you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great week, and please again, weekly webinar on investment immigration by Nysa coming your way each week. And we have a series of webinars that we have planned now going forward. And the next webinar is going to be focused on the US EB5 program, which is next Wednesday on the 26th of August. We are thereafter going to have specific webinars on the UK ROB program, the Golden Visa in Portugal, We're going to have panel discussions and chats with some of our partners about their experiences in the field of immigration, about the latest going on. There's a lot that is changing post-COVID in terms of some of these programs, and a lot of new, very exciting areas opening up for people looking to migrate. We are going to have webinars on citizenship by investment program, and then specific webinars on Canada, skilled and business immigration. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Keep tabs on our calendar and our mailers that go out on our webinars. We do encourage you and request you actually to encourage some of your friends and families that you think could be interested in our webinar series to come listen in. We are trying to provide information about some of the programs, and we are expert in a lot of these programs. So we're happy to work with you and looking forward to connecting with you and meeting with you. Thank you so much. Have a great week ahead, and see you next week on Wednesday, 3 p.m. for the next session on Nysa's Global Investment Immigration Series. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
Have a great day.
Yep. Thank you.